The SNES has one of the greatest libraries in gaming history, but instead of running through the same old list with Mario, Zelda, and Metroid, let's go ahead and mix it up. Today we're diving into 10 Super Nintendo games that everyone should play, from cult classics to underrated gems. Some of these picks might surprise you, but I'm sure a few will spark some debates in the comment section down below. Now, a quick disclosure, I've left out the obvious big three: Super Mario World, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and Super Metroid. They are masterpieces and everyone should play them, but this list is about mixing the classics with games that don't always get the spotlight. So starting at number 10, UN Squadron. Based on the manga Area 88, this side-scrolling shooter gave you more than just twitch reflexes. You could pick from 3 pilots with different strengths, earn money by completing missions, and buy new weapons between stages. That mix of arcade action with light strategy made it stand out from other shooters on the system. It's not as famous as Gradius or R-Type, but it's one of the best shooters on the Super Nintendo, and still a blast to play today. Have you ever actually played this game back in the day, or is it one of those titles that you completely missed out on? At number 9, ActRaiser. This one's a hybrid, part side-scrolling action game, part god simulation. You play as a deity battling demons in platforming stages, then shift into city building where you guide your followers and protect them from monsters. It was ambitious and maybe even a little ahead of its time. The balance between genres isn't perfect, but that ambition makes it unforgettable. Few games dared to blend hack and slash with town management, and that's exactly why it deserves a spot here. Now, if they revived ActRaiser today, would you want it more action-heavy or closer to a modern-day sim? Number 8 is Super Punch-Out. Building on the NES original, it refined that pattern-based boxing gameplay with smoother animation, larger sprites, and new fighters like Bear Hugger and Mad Clown. Every opponent has unique quirks, forcing you to learn timing and reactions. The flashy super meter added more excitement, and the colorful presentation gave it an arcade feel. It's not the deepest game on the Super Nintendo, but its charm and replayability make it a great pick-up and play title even now. Now, which fighter gave you the most trouble? For me, Mad Clown still gets me. And number 7, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Licensed games were usually throwaway cash-ins, but this Super Nintendo beat-em-up nailed the Saturday morning cartoon vibe. The sprite work was clean, the soundtrack captured the show's energy, and mid-level ranger transformations still give me chills. Gameplay is straightforward: punch, kick, and move right, but it's satisfying. And for fans of the 90s craze, this game is pure nostalgia. Not the deepest or hardest beat 'em up, but one of the most fun. Which Ranger did you always pick? I was almost always the Blue Ranger as a kid, but I know Red had a very loyal following as well. Coming in at number 6 is Super Star Wars. This is a licensed title, and licensed games usually have a bad rap. But LucasArts pulled off something special. You got fast side-scrolling action, vehicle stages like piloting a land speeder, and faithful cutscenes that retold the movie. It's brutally difficult, with enemies swarming constantly. Blasting through Mos Eisley Cantina or climbing the Sandcrawler felt like stepping into the film. It's not perfect, but for Star Wars fans, this was actually one of the best ways to experience the galaxy far, far away on a console. Now be honest, did you actually beat this as a kid or just rent it and give up after the first level? Number 5 is Secret of Mana. At a time when most RPGs were single player, this one let up to 3 players drop in and out for real-time co-op. Its colorful visuals, iconic soundtrack, and fast-paced battles stood out. The unique ring menu system let you manage spells and items without pausing the flow. Admittedly, the combat can feel clunky today, but in 1993, it was revolutionary. If you want a lighthearted, co-op-friendly RPG, this is still a great one to revisit. Now, did you play this solo or with friends on the couch? At number 4, EarthBound. When it launched, it was not a hit, but over time it became one of the most beloved cult RPGs ever. Why? Its quirky humor, its modern-day suburban setting, and unforgettable characters. You fought hippies, taxis, and piles of puke. It was weird, funny, and heartfelt all at once. But here's the debate. The pacing is slow, and the combat feels dated to some players. That's what makes it perfect for this list. Love it or hate it, EarthBound is unlike anything else on the Super Nintendo. Now, was EarthBound a masterpiece or completely overrated? Sound off in the comments. At number 3, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. This wasn't just another Mario game. The hand-drawn, crayon-style art was unique at the time and still looks gorgeous today. Yoshi's flutter jump and egg-throwing mechanics gave platforming a new twist, and the level design kept pushing creativity, from giant bosses to clever puzzles. Yes, Baby Mario crying can get grating, but the rest of the package makes up for it. It's one of the most creative platformers ever released. Does Baby Mario crying ruin the game for you, or was that actually part of the charm? Now, before we go into our top 2, let's talk about Super Mario RPG. Nintendo and Square teamed up to give Mario an RPG makeover. The humor, the isometric world, and the timed button combat made it stand out. It introduced characters like Geno and Mallow, who are still cult favorites today. It didn't crack my top 10 here only because the Super Nintendo library is so completely stacked, but leaving it out completely felt wrong. If you could only have one RPG on this list, would you pick Mario RPG, EarthBound, Final Fantasy III, or Chrono Trigger? Speaking of Final Fantasy III, number 2 is Final Fantasy III. This game pushed the Super Nintendo to its absolute limit with a huge cast of playable characters, an unforgettable soundtrack, and one of gaming's greatest villains, Kefka. It's still considered one of the best RPGs ever. The famous opera scene showed emotional storytelling few games could match in 1994. And if you want a classic RPG with depth, drama, and unforgettable moments, Final Fantasy III is essential. And at the number 1 spot, Chrono Trigger. This isn't just a top Super Nintendo RPG, it's one of the best games ever made. Time-traveling storylines, multiple endings, and a battle system that encouraged combo attacks set it apart. The music is legendary, and the art design from Akira Toriyama gives it style. It's approachable for newcomers, but deep enough for RPG veterans. Even today, Chrono Trigger feels fresh, and for many, it's the pinnacle of 16-bit gaming. So there you have it, 10 Super Nintendo games everyone should play, plus one honorable mention. Now this list mixes cult classics, hidden gems, and a few bold choices, but now it's your turn. What would your top 10 look like? And more importantly, which picks here do you disagree with? That's pretty much all I've got for you guys in this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll speak to you guys again real soon.